William.
Mary.
For me, that afternoon in May was the beginning. It was like stepping through a doorway into a new world. A world I'd never seen before. A world I'd never even known existed. My family, my friends, had warned me. I was a city girl, they'd said. I had no idea what it would be like living in the hills among strangers who knew nothing of the things I'd been brought up with. But they'd overlooked the one thing that made all the difference in the world. The fact that I loved William, and that because I did, nothing, no power on earth was going to keep me from his side. William. When will we be home?
Oh, before long now. Plenty of time for you to fix supper anyway. I hope you can make good biscuits. Nothing I like better than hot biscuits and chicken gravy.
Hot biscuits?
Hi. Hi, Jack. Nellie. Nellie, come on. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, girl. Go. Go, girl, go. Ha! Oh, easy, girl, easy, girl. Oh.
Well, you beat me this time, but I'll get you yet.
Not as long as I'm driving this redhead. By the way, I'd like you to meet my wife.
Why?
Since 2 o'clock this afternoon. Mary, this is Jack Stark.
Hello.
Hello. Well, it's about time somebody came up here to keep him on a straight and narrow, ma'am. Well, Parson, what owe you this time?
Same as usual.
What, again?
Just want to see you in church Sunday, and this time right up in the amen corner.
What's your congregation going to say to that?
Never mind about the congregation. Just be there.
Okay, Reverend, a bet's a bet. I'll be there if it kills me. Goodbye, ma'am. Happy to have met you.
Goodbye. Yes, it was true. My husband was a preacher. And this was his first assignment as a circuit rider on the old Mossy Creek Circuit in the hills of North Georgia. And here was the home he'd prepared for me. A lovely little house nestling in the valley. A good 5 miles from its nearest neighbor.
Well, Mrs. Thompson, here we are, home. I'd hoped to get it painted for now, but been so busy lately, recording and all. You don't like it. You're disappointed.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's beautiful.
Oh, I know. After what you've been accustomed to, it's ugly and little.
No. It's...
Yes?
It's just that... William, do you remember when you asked me if I could cook?
Mm-hmm.
And I said I could?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't.
Oh, yes, I know.
You know?
I thought you were lying, so I asked your mother.
You didn't.
You forget. I'm an old hand at dealing with liars. Here, hop down.
No, well, I think that's the meanest, sneakiest thing I ever heard of in my life.
What are you complaining about? I married you, didn't I?
Yes, but under false pretenses. letting me think you didn't know I was a liar.
Are you sorry you lied or that I caught you?
That has nothing to do with it. And it'll serve you right if you die from my cooking.
Oh, I wouldn't count on that if I were you. The preacher has a stomach like a goat. He can eat anything. Besides, there are a lot of good women up here who'll be glad to teach you everything about cooking.
William, don't you dare let anybody know that you married a stupid woman who can't even make decent fudge.
Promise not to breathe it to a soul. I'll just suffer in silence.
Oh, William, I'm so glad you married me, even if I am a liar. Instead of one of those really good women who'd rather be miserable all their lives than ever do anything dishonest.
Good evening. Miss Thompson, I'm Glory White, your near neighbor. Oh, there, child. I know how you feel. It's the way all brides feel when they realize what they've done to themselves. It tain't so bad. You'll come down to it in less than a week.
I'm not crying, it's these onions.
All the same, you better spruce up before the rest of the folks get here. Otherwise, they'll think you ain't satisfied. And that won't help your husband a bit.
Folks? What folks?
Why, members of your husband's congregation coming to celebrate your wedding. I just ran on ahead to warn you. Come here. Come here and look for yourself.
Do Lord, oh do Lord, oh do remember me, hallelujah, do Lord, oh do Lord, oh do remember me, look away beyond the blue. I've got a home in Beulah land that outshines the sun, oh Lordy, I've got a home in Beulah land that outshines the sun, hallelujah, I've got a home in Beulah land that outshines the sun, look away beyond the blue. You wear the crown and I wear the robe, oh Lordy, you wear the crown and I wear the robe, hallelujah, you wear the crown and I wear the robe, look away beyond the blue.
Father, we thank thee. Father, we thank thee. That's good. That's really good.
Father, we thank thee for the night and for the morning, pleasant night, for rest and food and loving care, and all that makes the world so fair. Help us to do the things we should, to be to others.
Good evening.
What are you doing out there? Why don't you come in?
I don't think I'd be welcome.
Well, you're a member of my husband's church, aren't you?
No, ma'am. I'm a lost sheep.
But you told my husband you'd come to church on Sunday.
I always pay my bets, ma'am. Besides, your husband has to have at least one poor sinner around for folks to test their prayers out on.
Don't you be blasphemous. I'll call William.
Let all those nice ladies know you've been feeding their food to a dog. Of course, I wouldn't think of mentioning it if you tell Jenny Brock to come outside and get some fresh air.
So that's it.
Yes, ma'am. That's it.
Kind and good in all we do in work or play, to be more loving every day.
Now, my dear, don't overdo this. You'll make yourself sick.
But, William, you know I always eat heartily. In fact, I think I'll have a piece of this pound cake. delicious.
Jenny.
Jack, you shouldn't have come here.
I told you I'd be here, didn't I?
Jenny! Jenny! You out here?
Please go.
Why should I?
Because there'll be trouble if you don't. Please, Jack, for my sake, please.
All right, I'll go for your sake, but one of these days I'm not going to run. Now, you go back inside the house.
Go on.
What are you doing out here?
Let's go in.
Bud, come on out here. I just saw Jack start, slipping around the house. Come on, let's get him.
Was he out here with you?
That's none of your business.
Well, I'll fix him. You go that way, I'll head him off here. I want to get my hands on you. We're going to give you a lesson that'll make you stay in the Coochie Valley where you belong.
Oh, button up your pants and go on back out in the hills where you're supposed to.
Come on, come
You
on.
dirty drunkard loafer, just because you got more money than anybody else.
I warned you about fooling around, Jenny.
Oh, you want to put your hands on?
Go. Let go, you fool!
Hold him, Bud! I'll knock his brains out!
Stop it! Me a lesson.
Stop it, I tell you!
Cut him out!
Told you about
Hold him, Bud!
Jenny!
Hold him!
Toss it, drinking!
All right, Ellie.
Drunkard!
Let me go! I told you about...
Bring it up. Bring it up. I say, bring it up. Bring it up.
Was his fault sneaking in here to see Jenny?
Never mind whose fault it was. Just behave yourself.
It's Fat Jack Stark.
Jack Stark. Jenny, come here. Did you know this good-for-nothing was coming here tonight?
I told Jack not to come here.
Then why did you go outside? To see him? No, I want the truth.
Mr. Brock, I told her that he was here.
You?
Well, yes, I'm sorry. I didn't know that I shouldn't have. He seemed nice.
Nice. No decent family would let him in their front door.
Sorry, Mrs. Thompson. Looks like I got you in a mess of trouble.
I don't think any great harm has been done. But you better go home now.
Sure, Reverend. Good night.
William, we're going home. Jenny, get in the surrey.
Good night, Mrs. Thompson.
Good night, Jenny.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, Gloria.
Good night, William.
I see him. Good night.
I'm sorry, William.
It's all right, dear. This is your home. As long as we occupy it, you will decide who is welcome here and who isn't. I trust you've all had a good look at the bride and satisfied your curiosity as to what she ever saw in me. Speaking of brides, I'm going to ask all the married couples in the congregation today to stand up. Now, don't hang back as if you were ashamed of it. Marriage is something that can happen to anybody. There must be more married people in the church than this. Stand up, stand up. Ah, now that's better.
What are you up to, Brother Thompson?
You'll find out. I want all you husbands and wives to join your right hands.
I heard what the preacher said, give me your hand.
Charlie, how long has it been since you've held your wife's hand?
Oh, about 2 or 3 years, maybe.
10 years would sound more like it.
Harry, isn't that your wife across the aisle?
Yep.
Well, go on over to her.
She knows where I am.
Ruth, what's holding you back?
Reverend Thompson, he's as close to me as I am to him.
Why don't you compromise? You go halfway, and Harry, you go the other. I went through a very impressive ceremony the other day, and it occurred to me this morning, instead of reading the general rules of the church and reminding you of your promises to love, honor, and support it, I'd remind you of some other vows which are just as important, and maybe even more important. Now, I know you're all good married people, and that none of you wives, for instance, ever nag at your husbands.
Sure, two things.
But of course, you husbands still do the same nice little things that you did when you were courting, like picking up your wife's handkerchief when she drops it, or helping her in and out of the buggy, or telling her how pretty she looks.
Amen.
Naturally, none of you wives ever grumble when your husbands come home late for supper or track mud into the kitchen.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it won't do you any harm to listen to what I have to say. Wilt thou have this woman to thy wedded wife, to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou love her, comfort her, honor, and keep her in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, keep ye only unto her, so long as ye both shall live? The men will say, I will. I will. Repeat that, please, a little louder.
I will.
That's better. Wilt thou have this man to thy wedded husband, to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou love, comfort, and keep him in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, keep ye only unto him, so long as ye both shall live? The women will say, I will.
I will.
Now, repeat after me using your own names. I, William Asbury Thompson, take thee, Mary Elizabeth Eden, to be my wedded wife, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part according to God's holy ordinance. Those whom God has joined together, let not man put asunder. And now you may kiss the bride.
I had always thought that a preacher's job was preaching. But I soon discovered that preaching wasn't even the half of it. Visiting the entire congregation was also a part of William's job. And I, as his brand new wife, was expected to go everywhere with him.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Piece of candy? Come on, I've got a piece here for you, too. Is your father home?
He's reading. Come here. Come on.
Do you have a piece of candy for this young lady?
Well, I certainly think we have.
What's your name?
Martha.
Well, that's a pretty name.
What's your name?
Bill.
Bill, huh? Well, that's my name, too. How is it we haven't seen any of you children at Sunday school?
We don't go to Sunday school.
Why not?
You wanted to see me?
Mr. Salter?
Yes.
I'm William Thompson.
You're the minister at Mossy Creek Church.
Yes. This is my wife.
How do you do, Mrs. Thompson?
How do you do?
We were visiting members of our congregation and just dropped by. We've been talking to your children.
Yes, so I see. You ministers never miss an opportunity, do you?
Oh, you mean the candy. Well, I usually carry a few pieces around in my pocket for the children.
I'm afraid you will find us pretty tough nuts to crack, Mr. Thompson. I'm not very interested in churches or religion. Neither are my children.
Well, perhaps we'll find that we have other things in common. You're a college man, I understand.
Yes, Harvard, 96.
Great university. I went to Emory myself, down at Oxford.
Theological school.
That's right.
I'm sorry I can't ask you in, Mr. Thompson. My wife isn't prepared to receive company today.
It's all right. Perhaps another day. Mr. Salter, what you do or feel about religion is your own affair. But I wonder if perhaps you wouldn't let your children come to our Sunday school.
No, that's not possible. I've taught my children that religion is based on nothing but superstition and fear. And the less they have to do with it, the better off they'll be.
Have you always felt that way about religion?
How's that?
Oh, nothing. Except I have an idea that you must have been a deeply religious man at one time in your life. God must have meant a great deal to you.
I know nothing of God, Mr. Thompson. Certainly he's never revealed himself to me. Has he to you?
Yes, very often.
You've seen him. Can you prove he exists?
No. No, but I know he does.
And you believe he made us as we are?
As surely as that we're standing here.
Then why didn't he make us all equally strong, equally well off?
I don't know. Man is not in possession of his plans.
Mr. Thompson, I refuse to believe in a God who inflicts pain and suffering, who permits all the injustices there are in this world. My mind tells me that such a God is not fit to be spat upon, let alone worshipped. Nor do I believe he'd give a man a mind and then condemn him for using it to think with, any more than he'd give a bird wings and condemn it for flying. That's giving him a great deal more credit than you do, Mr. Thompson, for all your religion.
Well, perhaps we'll argue about that another day. In the meantime, you have 3 mighty fine-looking children.
Thank you. But I wouldn't worry about them if I were you. Let's just assume that God is far too busy counting the sparrows and the hairs in your head to worry about me and mine.
We'll talk about that another time, too. Shall we go, dear? Good day.
Good day, sir.
Good day.
Good day, ma'am.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Martha.
Goodbye, Bill.
Boy.
There was one wonderful thing about William. He never pretended, even in moments of his greatest disappointments, to be anything but a perfectly human being who, if the occasion called for it, could be as naively unscrupulous as any creature on earth.
William, look! Jack, look! There's Papa!
I'm sorry, Mr. Brock. I didn't mean to cut across in front of you like that. Glad I didn't touch your horses. It's too close to stop.
Horse racing.
Oh, well, if you could call it that.
Yes, sir, horse racing. And with a questionable character at that.
Surely glad there's no damage.
The minister of my own church. Horse racing. And with a no-good scoundrel.
Mr. Brock, you're right about whatever you do or say about me and my part in the race. But you know, you could be wrong about Jack Stark. He's got a lot of good in him. We can only bring it out.
Don't tell me about him. I know his kind. And if you'll take my advice, you'll stop having anything to do with him.
He came into your store to buy something. Would you refuse to wait on him?
Well, that's got nothing to do with this. That's business.
Exactly. And don't forget that I'm in a business, too. And if that boy or anybody else wants to buy what I have to sell, I'm going to wait on him.
Why, he's
and it'll have to be whether you like it or not, sir. Good day.
Oh, I had a horse and his name was Bill. When he ran, he couldn't stand still. He ran away one day and I ran with him. He ran so fast he could not stop. Ran into a barber's shop. Fell exhaustionized with his eye teeth on the barber's left shoulder.
William, that was not a preacher's kiss.
What is a preacher's kiss?
Well, it should be more
More spiritual.
Sorry. I'll try and remember that next time.
William! William, don't you dare. Look who's coming.
Brother Brock as I live and breathe. He's coming here. Well, I knew it wouldn't be long.
What do you suppose he wants?
Who knows? To beard the lion in his den, perhaps.
Now, you be careful what you say. You know you can't afford to antagonize the richest member of your congregation.
Why not? He antagonizes me.
Well, suppose he stops his subscription to the church. What about your salary?
The Lord will provide.
Won't you at least tell him that you're sorry?
I will not. The man's a tyrant. He's bullied every preacher who's ever been here. But he's not going to bully me, and he might as well find out about it right now.
Do it for me. After all, I started all this. I want the people around here to like me.
No.
William, what about our baby?
What baby?
Well, you want us to have a baby, don't you?
Well, of course I want us to have a baby, but what's Mr. Brock got to do with that?
Well, nothing. Only you wouldn't want to bring a child into the world with a stigma on him, would you?
What kind of a stigma?
Well, if your father had been put out of the church for horse racing and for being too obstinate to admit he was wrong, wouldn't you call that a stigma?
Of all the idiotic things I have ever
Remember
heard, that
what
is...
St. Paul said. Let him that bringeth an innocent child into the world beware, and not put a millstone around his neck.
St. Paul never said anything like that.
Well, if he didn't, he should. Please, don't let Mr. Brock go away mad. Oh, William, I've got a wonderful idea. You just tell him that I egged you on, but that I know better now.
Do you know what you are? You're a blatherskite. Now, you go in the house. I'll handle this.
Oh,
Good morning, Brother Brock.
morning. William, I'm not one to do anything behind a man's back I wouldn't do to his face, especially him a preacher.
That's a very commendable attitude.
Now, it's about that mare of yours and all this horse racing.
Oh, yes, that's a good mare, but perhaps a bit meddlesome for a preacher. Suppose what I really need is a good, sturdy, reliable animal.
I just about made up my mind I'm going to write the presiding elder.
One with a sober attitude, like this... Yeah, like this gray of yours, for instance.
And I'm going to tell him I'm stopping my subscription and I'm removing
I
my
don't
church
suppose
letter.
you'd be interested in parting with the gray, would you?
How's that?
As you know, my sorrel comes of a mighty fine breed.
Hold on now. Why, this gray's a mighty fine breed, too. Sound as a dollar. Not a blemish on her. Why, I wouldn't let her go for a cent less
Oh,
than
I wasn't thinking about buying her. I was merely wondering if maybe we could make a deal.
Swap?
My sorrel for your gray?
Even swap?
Even swap.
Never saw a horse yet that wouldn't swap if the trade was right. Let me see that sorrel of yours. Get your head up. Hey, read up.
Thank you, Brother Brock.
Oh, I just recollected. Here's some preserved tomatoes the wife put up. None of us folks at home care for 'em much, but as I always say, it's a shame to see 'em go to waste.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, good day.
Good day.
Now, look Looking forward to hearing a good, stern sermon Sunday.
You will.
Get up.
William, what happened?
He paid me $10 on next quarter's assessment.
And he's not going to write to the presiding elder?
Tuh. And have him admit he palmed off this no-good, spavined-legged goat on his own preacher?
Well, it's still a horse.
At least it's nothing else. But look at her. She's got 3 wind galls. She's swinnied in both shoulders. And I'm practically certain she's got a gravel on one of her forelegs.
But you didn't apologize.
Apologize to a man whose only talent is making money and doesn't care how he gets it? A man who...
Oh, William, you're wonderful. For the first time since I've known you, I really feel morally akin to you.
These are for you. After that, even a preacher couldn't find them palatable. Come on, Fleetwhite.
William, here comes Dr. Fleming.
Oh.
Hi, Doc.
William, come here a minute. You too, Mary.
This is wash day. I look a sight.
Never mind. Come here.
Get out. Come on in, Doc.
No, I haven't got a minute. William, we got to close the church.
Close the church?
We're in for one of those fool epidemics, and I don't want people congregating. If we don't do something fast, folks will be dying around here like flies inside of a week.
Well, what is it?
Oh, it's got some newfangled name or other, but it's bad.
All right, you're the doctor. What else can I do?
You know the Simpsons?
Yes.
Both of them are down with it. At least 5 children look after themselves.
Oh, they'll need help. I'll go right over.
There'll be plenty of others, too.
Well, while you're hitching up, I'll change my dress.
Mary.
Yeah?
This thing's catching. It's dangerous.
Well, it's no more dangerous for me than it is for William.
Let me see your tongue. You ever been around sickness?
Not much.
Ever see anybody die?
No.
Tell William to let me know where he is all the time. I may need him.
The days and nights that followed were, for me, one long, lingering nightmare. For by the end of the 2nd week, there was scarcely a home in all the hill country where death or illness had not entered.
By and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful.
Get up.
No need to get up. It's too late. Let the dead bury the dead. We got the living to look out for. More than a dozen new cases reported. What can I do for them? Nothing. Just an old country quack. What can you do for them either? Sing them a hymn, hold their hands, tell them to pray to a God that lets things like this happen?
You're tired, Doc. Why don't you go home and try and get some sleep?
Yes, I'm tired. Tired because I'm licked. These people ought to be in a hospital where I can watch them every minute, but the way it is, Houses scattered over the hills, miles apart. I just can't get around to see them all. Mary, you look a little peaked yourself. You've been doing too much?
No, I'm all right.
You know, how would it be if you brought them all to church?
Church? What would they be doing in church?
Well, at least they'd be all together where you could look after them, see that they had a proper diet.
That's the first sensible suggestion I've heard in a month. You folks go on. Get things organized. Round up all the beds and things you can. It's going to take a heap of talking to get these people to leave home, but I'll get them there. I'll get them there if I have to use my buggy whip.
Jack. Jack.
Jeff, get another bucket of cold water.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brock, how is she?
Get away from here, you low-down good
I
for
want to
nothing.
see Jenny.
No, you don't. You're not going near her.
Oh, get away from me.
It's a wonder. Don't strike your dead. Coming here drunk. I'm good.
I'll take care of this. Go get the water. Go on. Come on, side with me. You ought to be ashamed of yourself coming here like this. You smell like a moonshine still.
She's gonna die. They won't even let me see her.
Is that why you came here tonight? Because you thought she was going to die?
Yes.
The Lord's not going to let Jenny die. Don't ask me how I know. I just know it. And you've got to have faith enough to believe it, too. Go on home and come back tomorrow morning. And remember what I said, Jack. The Lord's not going to let Jenny die.
William! Sally Winters, she just died. Come quick.
How is she? How's Jenny?
Jack, come here. Take this in to Dr. Fleming. Mary, what is it?
Leave me alone.
Mary, dear, what's the matter? You're not sick too, are you?
I wish I were dead.
Mary.
You promising that boy that Jenny's gonna live. Telling him all he has to have is faith. But she isn't gonna live, and you know it. She's gonna die just like the rest of them. And it's nothing but a lie for you to go
Mary,
and saying
stop
she
it.
isn't.
You don't know what you're saying. Now stop it and listen to me.
I'm going home. I'm not fitted for this sort of life. I had no business coming here in the first place. It's ugly and awful and a lie. I don't pretend to understand your God. I never did and I never will. I'm going back where I belong. Oh!
You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay right here and listen to me. There is a God. My kind of God. I know it. I feel it. I've never felt it so strongly before. I know he won't fail me at a time like this.
Let me go.
You wanted to come up here. You accepted this life of your own free will. And whether you like it or not, it's your life from now on as much as it is mine. If I let you run away from it, you'll never forgive yourself. Me either.
Here, what's this? Here, pull yourself together. Where's William? It's too late to give up now. The worst is over. Soon they'll all be going home. Did you hear what I said? The worst of it's over. Just a matter of time, they can all go home.
Jenny. How is Jenny?
Her fever's broken. She'll be all right. You go find William. Tell him I said to take you home. Stay there himself, both of you. Tell him the Lord's done his part, and now on I'll manage. With his help.
Oh. William! William!
In spite of my weakness, we'd survived our first crisis. In a way, I felt I'd grown up. I'd become, in fact, my husband's wife. I was yet to learn, however, that for a circuit rider's wife, there are many crises.
I know just what you're thinking.
Hello. You want to go on a picnic?
We can't.
Ask your father.
He's not home.
Was your mother home?
Yes?
Well, go ask her.
Oh, she wouldn't let us go.
Well, suppose I ask her just for fun.
You can ask her. She won't do it.
Well, come on. Let's ask her and see what happens. Come on.
And that's a very good sign.
Mrs. Salter,
Yes?
today's our Sunday school picnic at Grover's Mills. Won't you and the children join us?
My husband isn't at home. He wouldn't allow it. I haven't got a dress fit to wear. No, I don't want to go.
Well, how about the children? We're going to play games. And there's plenty of food. Just have a lot of fun. I'll take full responsibility. I promise to have them back before sundown if you'll just give your permission.
If they want to go.
Well, how about it? Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Suppose it's all right.
All right, let's go. Martha, you sit up here with us.
Hi there, Martha. How are
Come
you?
on, Bill. Up you go. Up you go. Come on, George. Come on.
And that's a very good sign that she's your touch. She was saying the good
How's everything?
Wall two.
All right, we need a hit now. Need a hit now. Let's see you hit.
Well, Mary, I suppose you'll be going back to Eatonton soon to have your baby.
Why, no. Whatever gave you that idea?
Well, I assumed you wouldn't want to have your child up here. After all, with your delicate upbringing, it's
Well, you
only
didn't go home to your mother to have your children, did you?
Oh, no, but that's different. My, what a lovely cake. Did you bake it?
Yes, I did. How is it different?
Well, after all, I was born here, both my husband and I.
I want my baby to be born here, too, where we live.
I merely wondered.
In the shade of the old apple tree, where love in your eyes I could see. When the voice that I heard, like the song of the bird, seemed to whisper sweet music to me. I could hear the low buzz of the bee in the blossoms as you said to me. With a heart that is true, I'll be waiting for you.
Jenny. I can't stay. But a minute.
I got your note. What happened?
Papa sending me to Wesleyan College in Macon
When?
next month.
To get away from me, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'll come to Macon.
Oh, no, you mustn't. Papa'd find out and he'd...
Then don't go. Stay here and we'll get married.
I can't. With Mom and Papa feeling as they do about you.
You love me, don't you?
Oh, you know I do.
You don't want to go, do you?
Not really. Oh, Jack, I don't know. I've always wanted to go to college, but I...
Bill! Yes, hurry up! I am. One for the money, two the show, three make ready, four to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, quick, hide. Oh, quick, quick. Bill! Bill! Hurry! George fell in the water! Hurry! 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 Where is he? He's down there. We're coming right here behind him. He fell in and never come up. George! George! Help! 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 Somebody! Down there! George is drowned!
Wait here, then.
Granny, please, John, help! Please, help me, please! Oh, please, George! Please, sorry,
Yeah, he's calling to the mill gate.
Oh. Good afternoon, Mrs. Salter. Is your husband in?
Yes.
You asked him to step here a moment. I'd like to talk to you both.
Tom.
Good evening, Dr. Fleming. Won't you come in?
No, thank you. I've got some bad news for you, Mr. Salter. It's about your boy, George.
What about it?
Well, he was at the picnic, you know. He slipped and fell in the mill race and got caught under the gate. I hate to bring you news like this, but somebody had to do it. Mr. Thompson's bringing him home now.
Dead.
Yes. We did everything we could. I've been working over him for an hour.
No.
I want to break him gently as possible. Please, Mr. Salter, don't make us... Mr. Salter, let me carry him. Take your hands off my... Leave me alone. My dead.
The Salter home wasn't the only one the tragedy struck that day. That night, my baby was born, prematurely. Baby.
Yes.
Boy.
Yes.
William,
Yes, my darling.
he must be baptized.
But, my dear, he's
Not really dead, William. He must be alive somewhere, or I can't bear it. I want him baptized.
Yes, my dear. Our Father, we come to you not only as your servants, but as the father and mother of this child. Knowing that he belonged to you before he belonged to us, we ask that you take him back into your keeping. For we remember how your son used to take other children into his arms and bless them, and then return them to their parents, as we hope someday you will return this child to us. I baptize thee, William Asbury Thompson, Jr., in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen.
Of the months that followed, I have little recollection, for I was like one dead myself. In the selfishness of my grief, I'd begun to commit the gravest sin a woman can commit against her husband. I'd ceased to care how I looked. As the saying is, I had simply let myself go. Until suddenly, one bright Sunday morning, as I stood just outside the church watching William shake hands with his congregation, I found myself rudely awakened by the sight of one of the most exquisitely groomed women I'd ever seen in my life.
Mr. Thompson, I'm Mrs. Billywith of Atlanta. I must tell you how much I enjoyed your sermon.
Thank you, and I'm delighted you came to our church.
Thank you. I don't suppose you remember me, do you?
Well,
Why should you? You only saw me once 2 years ago at the railway station in Demarest. My automobile frightened your horse.
Oh, of course. You have a summer home here.
On the lake, and I've just recently returned from Europe.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you with us, and I hope you'll come back again soon.
I will.
I'd like to have you meet my wife. Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Billywith.
How do you do, Mrs. Thompson? How do you do?
Fine, rousing sermon, William.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Thompson, I've been studying the Bible all spring. I wonder if I might drive by sometime soon and discuss several questions which have been bothering me.
Why, of course, any time at all.
Tomorrow, perhaps, about 3?
Tomorrow would be splendid.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Goodbye. It was a pleasure meeting you, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you.
Charming woman.
Everything's so much clearer for me.
I consider it a privilege to be able to help.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, do say goodbye to Mrs. Thompson for me, will you?
Very happy to.
All right, Otis.
For the Hebrew children, it was good for the Hebrew children, and it's good enough for me. Mrs. Billywith asked me to say goodbye, dear. She was sorry she didn't have time to come back.
That was sweet of her.
A remarkable woman.
Is she?
Oh, yes. Well-educated. Student of the Bible.
That's nice.
We were discussing parts of the scriptures, 2 Samuel in particular, about which she seemed confused. I think I was able to clear up several things for her.
William, is Mrs. Billywith happy at home?
No, she's not. Her husband is one of those straightforward, unimaginative businessmen. I gather he's very unsympathetic.
That must be very distressing to a woman of her sensitive nature.
Yes, it is.
Well, I hope she's enjoying her visits with you. Certainly her conversations always seem to do you a lot of good.
She tells me they've been a great satisfaction to her.
She coming back again?
Mm-hmm. Tomorrow at the same time. It's that old time religion. It's that old time religion. It's that old time religion. And it's good enough for me.
Oh, good afternoon, Mrs. Thompson. Good afternoon. Is Mr. Thompson in?
Well, he was, but he had to go on an errand. He'll be back soon.
Won't you come in? Thank you.
It's a nice day.
Rather warm.
Sit right here.
Thank you.
My husband tells me that you and he have been spending a very profitable time discussing the scriptures.
Yes, there were several very confusing points that your husband has been kind enough to clear up for me.
You're now discussing the second book of Samuel, I believe.
One of my favorite books of the Bible.
Possibly I could help you with the kind of interpretations you need better than William can.
Oh, really?
Yes. I've been thinking that what you need is to stay at home more and try to interpret your own Samuel. Your husband's given name is Sam, isn't it?
Yes.
He seems to me a very neglected prophet, too.
What do you mean?
That your husband, Mrs. Billywith, needs his spiritual faculties exercised and strengthened a good deal more than mine does.
Are you insinuating
I am. You're not a bad woman. You're just a very silly one.
Why,
Oh, don't go. I've hardly begun. The world is full of women always wanting to consult a minister about some spiritual problem that doesn't exist. Whenever I hear of a minister who's disgraced himself with some female member of his congregation, my sympathies are all with him. I know exactly what's happened. Some silly woman who's unable to distinguish between her sentimental emotions and what passes for her soul goes to call on him. And the first thing she always tells him is, she's unhappy at home. Now, 99 times out of 100, nothing's further from the minister's mind than evil. But after he's listened to her for a while and seen a tear or two in her eye, he's trapped.
Mrs. Thompson.
Otis! I've lived with William long enough to know that he hasn't the faintest idea of what goes on in the purely female mind. And as far as I'm concerned, the less he ever knows about it, the better.
Otis, come on!
Personally, I regard you as a member of the worst class of mischief makers in society. Women who make a practice of slipping up on the blind side of some good man without even giving a thought to the consequences. Of course, you'll say I'm jealous of William. Well, I am. And I haven't the slightest intention of standing idly by and finding myself with a damaged husband, let alone preacher on my hands. Never mind. Home, Otis. Goodbye, Mrs. Billywith. I'm glad you're leaving, or I might lose my temper. Go on.
Mrs. Billywith's car?
Yes, dear.
Well, couldn't she wait? Did you tell her I'd be back soon?
Yes, dear, I told her. But she was in a great hurry when she left.
Did she say she'd be back?
No, she didn't mention it. I gathered her husband needs her at home.
There's nothing wrong with him, is there?
I hope not.
Strange.
Don't unhitch, dear. I'm on my way to the Missionary Society meeting at Mrs. Brock's, and I thought I'd stop by the store and do some shopping.
Shall I drive you?
No, you stay here and work on your sermon.
Have a good time.
Thank you, dear. You have a good time, too.
for you, Mrs. Thompson.
Oh, thank you.
Can I make you, Miss Thompson?
Well, that's nice of you, Mr. Westmore, but I think I can make it easier on this side. Good afternoon.
What do you do?
Lovely day, isn't it? Good evening, Mr. Brock. Evening, Bud.
Well, good evening. Just got in a fine line of canned goods.
Well, thank you for telling me, but today I'd like to see some dress goods.
Dress goods? Say, what's got into you women, anyhow? I bet you're the 10th woman's been in here this week looking for dress goods. My wife among them. That pretty Miss Billywith couldn't have anything to do with it, could she?
I'm sure I don't know.
Well, of course, I suppose you being a preacher's wife, you don't notice such things.
Being a preacher's wife has nothing to do with it, Mr. Brock.
Well, now, here's a mighty fine piece. Black sateen.
Oh, I don't want sateen, and I certainly don't want black. I'm sick of going around looking like some sort of crow. Let me see the blue.
Blue? It's kind of gay.
Oh, no, that pink flowered pattern.
Pink flowered pattern?
Yes, please. You know, Mr. Brock, it's my personal opinion that God doesn't care for black any more than I do. And if you want any proof of that, you just look around you at the flowers and the trees and the sunsets. I'll take this.
It's a little high.
I don't care. I'll take it.
Now, with you?
Well, just give me a sample. I'll pick it up on my way home from the meeting.
Mary, what's happened to you?
Nothing. Why?
You're positively radiant. I've never seen you so beautiful.
Oh, William. I feel so ashamed.
Ashamed of what, dear?
I bought this dress when I knew we couldn't afford it. And I encouraged every other woman in the church to buy a new dress, too. And I kept them from supporting a foreign missionary.
Yes, I know.
What?
All about it.
William Thompson, of all the sneaking, underhanded things.
Even why?
Well, I don't care. It's all your own fault. You knew when you married me that I was frivolous and dishonest.
Yes, dear. I accept the full responsibility.
William Thompson, you're the meanest man.
What the blue blazes is this? Confound those people.
Morning, Brother Brock.
Morning, William. I didn't order this truck.
It's mighty pretty to me.
Yeah, but I ordered horse collars. Well, you just stay there and rock as far as I'm concerned.
Any mail for me?
It's their fault, not mine. It seems to me there was something. Oh, yeah, I remember now. A letter from Bishop Candler. In his own handwriting, too. Might be about a new appointment.
Would be.
day, Miss Salter?
Gallon of cool-off, please.
10 cents. Bud?
She's pretty, isn't she? Would you like to hold her for a moment? How would you like to have her for keeps? Maybe if you wish hard enough, Santa Claus will put her in your stocking next Christmas.
No, he won't either.
Why won't he?
Because there isn't any Santa Claus. He's just a lie, too. Like God.
How do you know? Phil, when you were a little fellow, say about Martha's size, didn't you ever believe in Santa Claus?
No.
You never hung up your stocking on Christmas Eve or had a Christmas tree? If I were a little boy or a little girl, I'd sure hang up my stocking on Christmas Eve. Don't you think it'd be sort of fun to believe in him?
But there isn't any, and anyhow, he wouldn't come to our house because my father wouldn't let him in.
Mrs. Salter.
Come on, Bill.
Sorry to wake you, Mr. Thompson. Jenny and I want to get married.
Jenny, I thought you were away at school.
I came home this afternoon.
The father's after us right now, hot-footed.
Oh, no, I'm not in favor of runaway marriages. This time of night, without even my pants on.
It's like we'll have to get it done by justices of peace at the county seat. Come on, Jenny, let's go.
Oh, no, wait a minute. What difference does it make whether or not you've got your pants on? You know they're in love. Surely you don't want her to marry that awful Bud Pike.
No,
Well, then go get your book and never mind your pants.
Thanks, Mrs. Thompson.
I'll open the front door and let you in.
Oh, please, couldn't we get married out here where we could watch for Papa?
Yes, I'll speak to William.
I pronounce that they are husband and wife together in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. Those whom God has joined together, let not man put asunder. Amen. Have you the license?
No, sir, not yet. We're planning on getting it at the county seat.
I can't marry you without a license.
Looks like you've already done it.
Not in the eyes of the law.
Well, which do you figure is better, having a minister say the words or having them written on a piece of paper?
That's beside the point. You've got to have a license.
Jack, here comes Papa now.
Come on, let's go.
Bye. Hurry!
Too late. They're married.
Why did you marry him? You know how I feel about that fellow.
That boy loves your daughter, and she loves him.
He's a no good for
They're
nothing.
both of age. You have no right to stand in their way.
Well, what about me?
You wouldn't want to force yourself on a girl who doesn't love you, would you?
Just the same, nobody's making a fool of me.
Well, I don't know why anyone would call you a fool, unless, of course, it got rumored around that you were chasing all over the country after them.
Huh?
Why, that sort of thing can ruin a man, make him the laughing stock of the entire community. That is, of course, if it got around. Mr. Brock, I know Jack Stark. He's got a lot of good stuff in him. All he needs is a steadying influence, and Jenny is just the girl for that. Why don't you let them try and work it out for themselves?
Themselves? I don't know what her mother's going to say to that.
I do. She'll probably cry for a little while. But after she sees how happy they are together, she'll think the whole idea was hers in the first place.
Suppose I put on my pants and we'll all drive into the county seat together and see that the whole thing is made legal.
Legal?
I married them in the eyes of God, but in the state of Georgia, they still have to have a license.
Then they ain't married at all. Shut up.
Bud, why don't you come along and stand up with them?
Not me. I'm getting out. And get out. Oh, get off my corn.
I'll be with you in a minute, Brother Brock.
Mr. Brock,
Yes?
you know, a minister usually gets paid for performing the marriage ceremony.
I never heard of the girl's father paying for it.
Except when there's apt to be a lot of gossip otherwise.
Blackmail, huh?
What a horrible way of putting the truth.
How much?
I think $5 would cover it.
$5?
Well, after all, it's for virtually 2 ceremonies.
One, two, three, four, five.
That $5 was the beginning of William's Christmas fund. He had determined that every child in the hills would have a Christmas this year, and that every adult should contribute.
Set.
Set.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll let you know what else you can give later.
Before he was through, he even had old women, some of whom hadn't had a frivolous thought for 30 years, devoting endless hours to making dolls' clothes and filling stockings. Until finally, on Christmas Eve, we were ready to set out on our secret missions, our buggies loaded down with mysterious bags and parcels, and enough rock candy to set every stomach in the hills to aching.
Where in the world did you children get those things?
Santa Claus brought them. See?
Santa Claus. Let me see.
No, it's mine. I want it, please, Mom.
What's going on out here?
Children found these things out here. They think Santa Claus brought them.
Santa Claus? No, there isn't any Santa Claus.
There is a Santa Claus. There is, too. Here's his picture, see?
What's got into you, Bill?
Maybe there isn't any Santa Claus, Tom, but what difference does it make? Look at their faces. Have you ever seen that look of happiness on them before?
Oh, Martha, you too.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. Maybe there isn't any God any more than there's a Santa Claus. Maybe you're right, I don't know. But neither do you. Do know I had a child who died. And I want to believe I'll see him again. I can't explain it, but I do. Maybe your mind tells you that isn't possible. But mine doesn't tell me anything anymore. All I can see is these children are happy for once in their lives. And I'm only sorry for you if you can't see it, too.
Let's eat breakfast.
With the coming of spring, William's job here was done. We were leaving Mossy Creek for his new assignment in Atlanta. For us, there was but one more call to make. A call which we'd made many times together in the year that had passed. William,
Yes, my dear.
I hate to leave. I've really learned to love it here and to understand it. And to understand myself and you.
It hasn't been easy here for you.
At first, I was jealous of your work. Even of God.
No man could have asked for a better wife.
I didn't understand your God. And I didn't want him to be always coming between us. I wanted to be your whole life. I wanted my love to be enough for you. I didn't realize then how selfish and limited that was. And how unworthy of you.
Mary.
Now I know better. Now I know what Ruth meant when she said, "Whither thou goest, I will go. And where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people. And thy God, my God." Because now I know that you were called to preach, just as sure as I was called to love you. It's a wonderful thing to know, William. We better go. The people are waiting.
Dear friends, we've been together now 3 years. Sickness and health, good times and bad. And in that time, we've come to look upon you not just as members of our congregation, but as the closest of friends. We're going to miss you. But under the rules of our church, a minister must go from one charge to another. Whether we shall come back again is in God's hands. But part of our hearts will remain here always. Some of it buried deep in the red clay of your hills. Goodbye, and God bless you. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye, Mr. Jackson. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mary. Goodbye, George.
Nellie, what are you doing here? And gets to my buggy.
Well, I never felt right since I let you swap me out of my grave.
And I never felt right that I never got around to telling you that your wife was a mighty fine for me.
Goodbye, dear. Goodbye, Jenny. Jack.
Goodbye. 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 Goodbye, William.
Goodbye, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mary.
Goodbye, Doctor.
God bless you both.
Goodbye.
Mr. Thompson?
Mr. Salter.
I'm sorry you have to leave this community. You know my views on religion, and as far as I'm able to determine, they're still my views. But before you go, I want you to know that in one very important particular at least, you've opened my eyes. For the first time in my life, I've seen my children as happy as other people's children. You've made me deeply conscious of my shortcomings as a man and as a father. And for that, I'm grateful. If it's of any interest, you may be sure that my family and I will re-examine our positions and face the future at least with an open mind.
Bye, Mr. Salter. Mrs. Salter, Martha, Mr. Thompson.